Hello, this is Adbir. This is our third video on how to calculate the limit of a function. In this video, we will consider how to calculate the limit of some trigonometric function by using the squeeze principle, and also we will learn how to calculate the limit of piecewise function. So let's just start with the squeeze principle. So squeeze principle says that if your function is squeeze between the two function fx and gx, and their limit, they are approaching the limit as x approaches to a, the both function approaching to the same limit L, then the function which has been squeezed between these two function, their limit is also will go to L. For example, you can see the situation in this diagram, where you can see the fx and hx function, they squeeze the function fx, and since the limit of this function approaching hx is approaching to 0 as x approaches to 0 in the both direction, so it means this function has been squeezed between two. It has no way to go other than L. So this is the squeeze principle. Let's practice this squeeze principle on an example. So here I have a function x square sine 1 over x. As you can see that I cannot really calculate the limit of this function just directly plugging the 0 into the function, because what I will get, I get 1 over 0 sine 1 over 0. So you know that when you get 1 over 0, number over 0 or 0 over 0 form, so these are the two indeterminate form which we have to basically simplify the function in order to calculate the limit. So here we cannot really use any algebraic method to simplify the function, because function is a trigonometric function. It cannot be turned into a polynomial, and you cannot factor the top and bottom and basically get rid of 1 over x, because x in the denominator is 1, causing a problem. In this case, we will use the squeeze principle. So squeeze principle works if you can find the two function which will squeeze this original function. So we have a nice property of sine theta, which is always between -1 to 1, and same is for cosine theta, they always lies between -1 to 1. So no matter what angle is, so 1 over x is always between -1 to 1. No matter what the angle is, sine is always between -1 to 1. So if I multiply by x square on both sides, I get x square sine 1 over x less than is equal to x square. So I was able to find the two function which is squeeze this function. I have a minus x square and x square will squeeze my function this. Now I will calculate the limit as x approaches to 0 of minus x square, which is simply a polynomial function. You can just calculate the limit by plugging the limit. And the limit x approaches to 0 of x square, which is the function on the right hand side, its limit is also 0. So by squeeze principle, the limit of the middle function must have to go to 0, which is our function sine x square sine 1 over x. So the limit of this function is also 0. So this is the squeeze principle. Basically, you have to find the two function minus x square and x square and then calculate their limit. To notice that these limit must converge to a same number. If they don't converge to a same number, it means these function you choose minus x square and x square, which is squeezing this function x square sine 1 over x, this will, you cannot apply the squeeze principle if these limit does not converge to the same number. So for example, this function is also squeezed between this function minus x square less than is equal to x square sine 1 over x less than equal to 1 plus x square. So x square sine 1 over x is also squeezed between this, but this limit is going to 1, this is going to 0. So these limit are not same. So you cannot use squeeze principle to say that this limit to calculate the limit of this function by using minus x square plus 1 over x square. So this is not the right pair of the function to calculate the limit. Here I have one quiz problem, where you need to use the squeeze principle to calculate the limit of this function. Pause the video for 1 and 2 minutes. Once you have your answer, you can leave in the link above. Our next topic is how to calculate the limit of a piecewise function. So here I have a piecewise function f of x, which has two p's, gx and hx. Gx is in the left of a and the hx is on the right side of a. So calculate the limit of a piecewise function. So let's suppose we want to calculate the limit as x approaches to a of this piecewise function fx. Before you calculate the two-sided limit, you must have to calculate the one-sided limit of the piecewise function. So what is the left side limit of the piecewise function is basically the limit of the a piece which is on the left of a. So you see that the left of a, the piece is g of x. So the left sided limit of the fx is simply the limit of gx. And the right limit is basically which is the piece on the right side of a. This is the right side of a, the piece is h of x. And we say the two-sided limit of the piecewise function exists if these two limits are equal. If the left side limit of the function is equal to the right side limit of this piecewise function. Let's practice this concept on this example. So here I have a piecewise function. If I have to calculate the limit of this function as x approaches to 1 from the left, so simply what I have to look, what is the piece of the function which is on -1 on the left of -1. So this is the left side of -1, x less than is equal to -1, and the piece is a 1 plus x. So this is just simply calculating the limit of 1 plus x as x approaches to -1, which will give us 0. Let's calculate the limit as x approaches to -1 on the right. That piece is a x square. -1 on the right side, the piece is a x square. So it is limit is -1 square, which is just 1. So you see this 0 is not equal to 1. So the left limit of the function is not equal to the right limit at x is equal to -1. So therefore this limit is a dn. In part 4, we have to compute the limit at 1. So before I calculate the limit at 1, I will calculate what is the limit of 1 from the left and what is the limit at 1 on the right. On the left of 1, the function is x square. On the right of 1, function is a 1 over x square. So therefore this limit is going to be a 1 and this limit is going to be 2. They are both not equal. Therefore the limit x approaches to 1 of f of x is dn. It does not exist. The limit does not exist when the left limit is not equal to the right limit. Here I have few quiz problem. Problem number 1, you will calculate the piece, the limit of this piecewise function 1 from the left. In problem number 2, calculate the limit of the function 1 from the right. And in problem number 3, tell me what is the two-sided limit of this function. Is exist or it does not exist. Once you complete these three quiz problems, you can leave your answer in the link above.